Hey, hello, this is Harry from Harry's Guitar. Today I'm going to do a special request and teach an Argentinian song called El Colibri, the flight of the hummingbird. And then if you like the show, please subscribe, tell your friends, put a like to it to help the channel, and then I'll give you a close-up and tell you a story. Okay, I'm going to do a special request. I've been teaching this song, El Colibri, Flight of the Hummingbird, for many years with a lot of my old students. And the story behind it is, I started guitar between 8th and 9th grade, copying friends. And by the time I was a junior in high school, you know, I started hanging around different friends and we started playing rock and roll songs from Aerosmith, Kiss, Grand Funk Railroad, things like that. And then in my small high school, you know, the only musical things we had were like choir, bell choir. So I was involved with those things, and choir helped me to sing and listen to different parts. But my high school music teacher said, hey, you should be a music major. So in my senior year, she, you know, made a class to teach me fundamentals to get me ready for college. So in my first semester as a classical guitar major at University of Hawaii, you know, I wasn't having fun. And I was thinking, well, I'm in college, I'm supposed to be having fun studying what I like. So I started to think, well, why am I not having fun? It just feels like an exercise, reading, learning to read music, and, you know, and so I started thinking, well, why do I do my rock and roll things? Well, because I heard a song that I like, I bought the album, the recording, listened to it, figure it out. And that's what I wasn't doing that with classical guitar, because I had no idea any classical recordings at that time. You know, back then there was no internet, nothing. So I started asking different classical guitarists at school, like, who do you listen to? So they gave me names like Andres Segovia, the father of classical guitar, Christopher Parkening, who's a student of his, Julian Bream, John Williams of Australia, not the John Williams that the Star Wars, he's the famous classical guitarist from Australia. And then a name came up, Leona Boyd. And at that time, she was a new classical guitarist out of Canada. So anyway, I went to the record store and looking through different classical recordings, and this album by Leona Boyd, you know, I bought that album and went home and listened to a song called El Colibri, Flight of the Hummingbird. And it floored me to listen to this song and thinking, wow, this is just one guitar. So I went to order the sheet music, and after I got the sheet music, I forced myself to read the music and memorize it. And it's only 2 pages of black dots, but every section taught me a different finger style, in a sense. So in a way, this is kind of to explain to you why I have so many different styles from learning. You know, when I first started, no one really taught me. I was just following, so I was just using my thumb, pick sometimes, whatever, you know, maybe one finger. But this song taught me a lot of things, so I use this as a way to show you a fun way to learn something. I no way play as fast as the recording. I do perform it, but I do it like a cruise Hawaiian version. So anyway, here's a close-up, and I'll share with you this fun journey. Okay, so I'm going to teach this song in 4 parts. And, you know, I just want to introduce this song to you to kind of show you how I fell in love with classical guitar music. So this is someone in Argentina, Julio Sagreras, who, you know, saw a hummingbird flying around and he made it into a piece of music, which is pretty incredible. So I'm going to teach you this by counting. When you read the chart, count out loud because it's helpful. So here's the very first measure. Also, I write things, the left hand is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right hand is P-I-M-A. They're from Spanish words, pulgar, indicio, medio, annular. So you might want to write that down, P-I-M-A, okay? So this first one, I'm just going to show you the first 4 beats. It'll be like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I got my middle finger here on the 2nd fret on the fifth string, I play my thumb and middle finger, and in the song you're gonna notice a lot of movement on the end of the first beat. So one and you know, that's like kind of showing you how a hummingbird zips, you know. So throughout the song you're gonna see the movement fall on and. So I want you to count out loud 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And what helped me in the beginning is I read this, you know, I learned this by reading black dots on a page. I took 4 beats and I just looped it, you know, so you might want to go slower, you know, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just repeat it. Because if you can repeat it and loop it, you start feeling the rhythm. So the goal here is you keep the 6th string ringing, and then while it's ringing, you're alternating your fingers, yeah? So some people start with the index, I do it with my middle, it doesn't really matter, you work it out the way you want. So in this whole process, you know, rewind as much as you can, but I'm gonna write the chart. Okay, so here's the first line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, well that's part of the first line. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and while the bass is ringing, you're gonna keep that middle finger there so you can do a pull off. Then your first finger is gonna play twice in a row. Notice the way the number is written, yeah? That's telling you what fingers that this composer decided for your left hand to do, yeah? So here's the whole first line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. So this is when I switch to this finger pattern where I'm going thumb, middle, pointer, ring. And I'm going to play through the second line now. Here's the second line. This middle finger is going to go down 1 fret at a time until your middle finger gets to the 8th fret. You're going to do the 8th fret twice, and it goes back to the 9th fret once. And then when it goes back to 8th fret, you're going to do with these fingerings, it's written there. Thumb, your right hand is going to go thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, and this is 4 beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you end up with this 7th chord. Okay, so here's the first 2 lines, and you can rewind as much as you like, but I would learn this very slowly, and you want to follow instruction of the fingering because that's the composer's suggestion of the fingering to help you move quicker. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So all the way to that, this bass note is still ringing from the very beginning. So I'll do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so here's the next line. You're gonna bar the 9th fret, and you're gonna go. It's like pick, pull, pick, 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 pull, pick, pick. So this is 4 beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then where this bar is, you're gonna put your middle finger and baby finger on the same string, and this is on the same 7th fret. It's not a bar, but you're gonna go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So these 2 measures are gonna repeat twice. So I'll do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And here's what I think is the hummingbird's flight. You're going to go from this B, and you're going to go 1 octave higher, so it'll be 7th fret to the 19th fret. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 extra back to the 7th fret. 1 and 2 and 3. Same thing, middle finger. 1 extra. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 extra. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you went from this B note to an octave B, back to the 7th fret B, to open B, to the low B. Okay, so let's take it from the 3rd line. So here's your 3rd line, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Repeat the same 2 measures, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and you can have 1 extra. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 then you're gonna repeat from the very beginning again. Same thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and everything's exactly the same. Oops. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The same finger style, 13, 12th fret, 11th fret, 10th fret, 9th fret, twice on the 8th again, back to the 9th fret, and then back and build the chord. Okay, so let's review from the top one time. So here's the first line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're going to do something different. This is the second time. Instead of baby to ring finger, it's going to go baby to middle finger. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and this is going to be the same. 1 and 2 and 3. And it's going to repeat this one. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now here's something different. I call this, it looks like an inchworm going down the neck. I'll play it one time first. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so taking it from the second ending. So this is baby finger to middle finger. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you're going to play to the third beat like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So up to the third beat, this bass is ringing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Just baby finger by itself. Keep the baby finger there. Bar the fifth. Pull off to the bar. 1 and 2 and 3 for all 3 beats. And 4 and by itself. You see how it goes down like an inchworm? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and bar, second fret. 1 and 2 and 3. This time you're going to use your middle finger and 4 and this middle finger is going to be a guide. It's going to go down 1 fret. Now you're going to do the first 3 strings and the 6th string at the same time. You can play at the same time and do a pull off. Sometimes I roll it. How I roll it is slow motion. I'm going in that order, but I'm not picking it. I'm kind of grabbing all 4 strings and I kind of roll it over so that I get the same effect. And I do it like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so I'm going to play though. This is what I call part 1. I'm going to split this lesson into 4 parts, and you know, this every section is like a different finger exercise, and you know, this is the song that made me fall in love with classical guitar, because it made me aware that one guitar can sound like so many things, you know, and so many possibilities, endless, I guess, you know. That's why I still study this stuff. So here's the line 1. I'm just going to go from beginning and rewind as many times as you like, okay? And 3 more parts will be coming up. So here we go. 1 and